like wood armor as like one of them. Is that like white? So white.
Okay. Let's start the class. So today we continue to talk more about Zen traditions. And actually, a brief introduction. If you really want to study Zen, there's plenty of information. Okay, what do you have for Linji?
Linji, I don't know how to say his last name, the Y-I. Okay.
Linji, you call Linji is?
The founder of the Linji school, Chan Buddhism. All the information that we have on Linji was recorded 250 years after his death, and it's called the Linji Yuli, or Yulu. He was born into a family named Zing, and he left at a young age to study Buddhism in many different places. He had a first master, Huangbo Ziyong, and it is said that he became Kenshu and left and then came back to that master. After reaching awakening, he's known for teaching students to help reach awakening by hitting and shouting. It was most often used with a fly whisk. Is that like a fly swatter? And then there was this whole story that I'm not sure if you want me to read it. It was the Linji's iconoclasm, and it's if you want to, it says if you want to get the kind of understanding that Core Dharma, never be misled by others. And it said like you can meet Buddha, kill Buddha. Are you going to explain that part?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't understand that. And that's pretty much all I have.
That's all. Okay. If you don't understand anything about Buddhism, especially Zen tradition, this is make you out of your mind, right? Hold on, what's it? If you meet Buddha, kill Buddha. If you meet your parents, kill your parents.
I would assume he doesn't mean literally.
That's the point.
It's more metaphorical. He's just saying, don't let anything stand in your path. Don't let anything block your way or distract you, even your family or the Buddha or the teaching.
That's the
He's
point.
not literally saying go and kill them.
Yeah, that's the point.
I think he's saying kill the distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's right.
Not the actual person.
Okay. That's the point. So don't take it. Don't think he associates people to kill people, right?
Right.
No, that's not the case. Because if you do meditation, while you're sitting there, there's a lot of talk popping up. Attachment to your family members, parents, girlfriends, boyfriend, children, and so forth. You need to let them go. That's what you mean. Don't attach to them. If you don't attach to them, you move forward. You make more advanced. Otherwise, you get stuck there. Because that he talk about the mental level of mind, not the physical level.
Because he's talking about meditation in this passage.
Let me tell you a story. There is a monk. He, a Chinese monk. He liked to go to the Five Peaks mountain in China. It's famous, where they worship the Manchurian Bodhisattva, the Wisdom Bodhisattva. So he want to go there to see him spiritually. But somehow, later on, he recognized that's not much important. So later on, he worked in the kitchen of the big monastery. You know, in monastery in the past, thousands of monks staying together. So when they have actually when they prepare the milk, it's a lot. They have a huge pot to cook rice, tofu, and so forth. It's not a small one because it's cooked for the whole community for hundreds of thousands of people together to eat at one time. So while he cooking the rice, so somehow the steam of water is come up, and so somehow the figures of that Bodhisattva, Wisdom Bodhisattva, appear into the stream, the steam. So somehow he uses the stick to hit that figure. Of course, why? It's fake. It's illusion. So make sure if you do meditation, you have to know this. Don't attach to illusion. If you attach to illusion, you get lost. You could not concentrate well. And that's just a meeting. Right? And of course, again, like on Monday, right, I told you that the shouting and hitting style is start from him, right? The people in the West it's not easy for you guys to accept, right? It seems that he violent person, that's not the case. You know, in Buddhism, we have two types of what they call rafu. How can I say rafu? F.
It's TH.
Oh, TH, right? Oh, rafu, right?
Yeah.
Rafu Bodhisattva and compassionate Bodhisattva. It's that home. The mother is so compassionate. The father, rafu. You understand that? So the reason why children like to live or love the mother than the father, because the father still loves them, but they somehow we have the masculine personality that we used to do things stronger than ladies, right? But doesn't mean that we don't love children, we don't love our students, and so forth. Understand that? So later on, I mean, next week we talk about the tantric tradition. They have these two opposites. So the point is the intention. Right? Used to tell you this example, right? If you see a child walking toward the wood heater. Do you have wood heater? You have wood heater?
Oh yeah, like a wood stove?
Wood stove, So what happens if that child touch or try to play around with the fire inside the stove? And if you stay too far away from him, what should you do? Would you yell to stop him, or would you just stand there compassionately? You understand that? You have no choice. You stand out too far from your reach to stop him. So you have to yell, stop! No, don't touch that. Otherwise, he will burn his hand. So that is rafu Bodhisattva, right? But with intention, good intention, not to harm, good intention to teach people, good intention to care for the children. You understand that? So that reason why I don't know mention about your parents, right? You know, your parents too, right? You have children too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's still young? They're still young?
Yeah, oh no, I have one, he's a baby, he's like 8 months old.
Okay, that's too young. Too young to talk, right? But you be careful whenever you admonish, you scold them, be careful. Why? Most of the times we scold them, we admonish them with what? With anger. Is that right? We couldn't control our emotion when they make mistake. What happens if they pour water onto your laptop?
I would be angry.
Yeah. See that? You see that? And but they're innocent, is that right? They don't know what they're doing. So that's why, you know, even us when we grown up, we used to remember the time that we would yell out, we were scolded by our parents. We don't remember the times that our parents bought things for us.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? Why? Because energy, negative energy still impact in our mind. So especially your parents, be careful when you yell to them. If you yell to them, admonish them with compassion, they understand, they recognize, they remember. Otherwise, with the anger, it lasts forever. Okay, so again, so Rinchi, he used that one, the style, shouting and hitting with compassion. Especially, you know, if you do meditation, you know, when you do meditation, it's easy for you to encounter two difficulties, two main problems. First, to sleep or playing around with your thoughts. And with my own experience, when I practice at my master's temple, sometimes we sat for more than 5 hours And most of the time, physically we tired, mentally we confused. We're not confused, but we are in the muddy state of mind. And that's why, of course, within this order, we have someone use sleep to remind us to wake up. And sometimes, you know, even when we walk around, still fall asleep. Yeah, because physically we are tired. And mentally, we really focus on the subject or object, but somehow you see that falling asleep is one of the problems while we do meditation. That's why when he shout to his student, let's wake him up. Like when you were young, right? When you were in middle school, high school, right? When you're so late, and your parents yell, "Wake up! Go to school!" Is that right? It's normal, right? So of course they don't hit you. Anyway, so that's the style. That's style. This is the more proactive style to teach the student. I will show you, if we have time, we'll show you the clips about how they conduct the chanting. And remember I told you the story that he asked about, when he was novice, he asked his master, I have my eyes, my nose, my body, and so forth. How could this? How should I say? No eyes, no nose, no body, no tongue, and so forth. You remember I told you? What's the meaning? What's the meaning? Plus, this physical body won't last forever. But this one here, Buddha nature. So, in Buddhist point of view, Buddha nature, I told you last time too. This is everlasting. This everlasting. This is stay with us forever. No, wherever we go, whichever form we have. This physical will be gone. That's like energy. This is like energy. It's everlasting. Our forms, male or female, according to Buddhist view, can be transformed to a next life. We don't know. According to Buddhist view, if we build up with the male or masculine personality, probably we have more chance to be male again, and vice versa. But the form can be changed. But the spirit, especially the Buddha nature, never change. That's Buddhist view. And this because this is we can achieve the Buddha. That's why they use this tactics for you to remember, to recognize your intuition. This one is your intuition. That's all. Don't play around with your yes, sir.
So what you're saying is we have an ever-dying energy.
But it's covered by Buddhism. It's covered by by stress, anxiety, depression, so forth. That's how they harm us. So let me move on. So that's what he started with that kind of teaching. Okay, the next one. Next one. Okay, no one talk about this. Number 2, no one does this. Okay. The father of reason. Remember, this is one of the school that's found by the master and the student. And this one is very important figures in Zen tradition too. Every novice need to study one of his the department of the monks and nuns. He laid out the strict rules for monks and nuns to abide. Besides the Vinayas, remember, according to the Eastern traditions. When he was young, when he stayed with his master, one day, this is we talk about Kongan today too. So one day, his master called him in and told him that go to the wood stove to find a piece of pie for me. And yes, he did, but he could not find anything. And so his master stood up and went there, and said, I used 65. Later on, he found a little fire there. And he said, why is that? At that moment, he recognized, he awakened. You understand what he's awakened about? No? No? That's one of Kong Ang too. I will talk about that. Please remember if you forgot. Okay, we'll talk about that when we talk about Kong Ang here. Okay, so one day there's one fortune teller came to the monastery and asked and told his master, there's a big mountain over there. Please send one monk, one particular monk, one strong spirit monk to go there and take care of that mountain. Because at that mountain, later on, we'll have thousands of monks to study over there. So again, they have some kind of competitions. This is a long story, much short. So his teacher sent him there. His master sent there. All the mountain, nothing there. There's no food available except the tree, the forest. The trees, the rocks. That's all. And he lived there for 3 years with the wild animals, the tigers, snakes, and so forth. Last time I asked you, have you been by yourself one day, even in your room, right? Not talking about in the forest on the mountain, right? Have you been? Not yet, right? So he stayed there for 3 years amongst the wild animals. You have to have that kind of strong. You serve in the army, right? So you live in desert or what?
Well,
Where?
yeah, I lived in Iraq for 2 years.
But usually you go with many soldiers, right?
Yeah.
They don't my side. You're not sniper, right?
No.
Okay. Anyway, so it's not easy. Even stay in your room for a day, you may not have that spirit. Not talk about 3 years on the mountain with the wild animals by himself. Of course, yes, sir.
What's the purpose of living?
Meditation. In the forest, in the mountain, is quiet area, so that's enhance your skill of meditation, because you would not disturbed by people coming and so forth. Understand that?
Yes. But
Yes.
is it possible that it could backfire?
Backfire?
Like a person be meditating and they get to meditating so much they think that they're God or something.
That's the difference only, no.
Okay.
In Buddhism, later on I will tell you about what you call the Diamond Sutra. Whoever claim themselves, I'm a God, I'm a arhat, and so forth, there's not the real one. Because it's still attached to the ego. You see that's different from all religion. You see, if you claim yourself like this person, that person, a patient, and so forth, that's not the real one. When you achieve to that state of mind, you don't need to say. You don't need to label yourself. This to come naturally. You see that? Okay. So anyway, so he's so famous. He's so famous in Zen Buddhism because he set the strict rules for the monks to go. Now, before I move on, let me tell you, there's another Kong Ang too. There's a monk. He went in the winter, like in winter it's too cold, right? He went to a temple, Buddhist temple. He saw the wooden Buddha statue on the altars. What happened? It's too cold for him. He took one of them down and burned as a heater, as a source of heater. And the abbot, the monk in charge of that temple, came out. How could you burn my Buddha statue? I told you this story, yeah. And so he said, because of I want to get the relic from Buddha. So how could you find relic between the wooden statue? So if that's the case, I burn more. So because in Zen tradition, the purpose is to point to the Buddha nature. Sometimes some monks they took advantage on that and they so lousy. They are lousy monk. That is why, that is why he laid out the rules for people to follow, especially for the beginners. And you cannot imitate the monks, the enlightened person. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Yes, what do you have to say?
The more philosophical Zen schools were set up by monks, like Isai?
Inside.
Asai? Okay, which emphasized liberation through the insight of meditation. And they were rapidly adopted by the upper classes and had a profound impact on Japanese culture. Isai was a Japanese Buddhist priest. He started the Rinzai school, and he also brought green tea from China to Japan. He was dissatisfied with the state of Buddhism at the time that he was studying in the 1100s. So in 1168, he went to China, the origin of the Zen, the Chan tradition, and he studied there for 6 months, and then he went back for a longer stay later. He became certified as a Zen teacher, and in 1191, he took the scriptures and tea seeds and he founded a temple. And then he left, he started facing a lot of pushback from the normal traditional schools of Buddhism, like Tendai. So he ended up moving to Kyoto for the northeast. He left Kyoto and went to Kamakura in 1199, where the shogun were, and they enthusiastically welcomed his teachings. Let's see, where's the... He established the Rinzai school in 1191, I said that, and the samurai liked the Zen way of life because of confronting death without fear and acting in a spontaneous and intuitive way. And during this period, the Gozen system, where 5 mountains and 10 temples, was established, which institutionalized an influential part of the Rinzai school.
Okay, yeah. Later on, thank you. He established that Rinzai, Linti in Chinese. And later on, the samurai, is that samurai? Samurai, Rasmi? The shogun, right? They adapt this kind of lifestyle. Why? Because you have to be sharp, right? When you go to the battlefield, otherwise you be killed easily.
Like saying you have to be very present of mind.
That's the point.
And focused.
So that's why they apply this kind of meditation or the Zen practice in all kind of arts. Okay, so the next one, Nick.
Nick's not here.
Oh, Nick not here. I'm sorry. Hold on this one. Okay, Dongshan again. He found a countdown set. Now, it's in the opposite practice of Linji. Dongshan, he advocates a soft meditation, what they call silent, luminous chant. That means that he encourages his students to do inside meditation. That's samatha and vipassana, and the soft way, in opposite with the Linji one. And that's why these two traditions are in contrast to each other, so that whoever wants to have the more provocative practice who go to Rinji, or whoever want to go to the soft one, go with the countdown. So there's a choice, alternate choice. And now up to nowadays, especially now, these two traditions still survive in China, Japan, Vietnam, and so forth, especially in Japan. Okay, so, Taylor, what do you have for Dogen?
He was a Zen master from the Soto school. He trained under Ru Jing, a master of Chinese Saodong lineage. He wrote the Treasury of the Eye of the True Dharma. He traveled to China to study in the Jiangde Sim monastery. He returns to Japan in 1228, I think, and writes down the Fukan Zai or Zazenje. He ran from persecution upon his return. He taught Zazen, or sitting meditation, as a central practice of Buddhism. He also taught the oneness of practice enlightenment. And I have a quote, to practice the way single-heartedly is in itself enlightenment. There is no gap between practice and enlightenment, or zazen and daily life. He taught the Buddha nature, or the nature of reality in all beings. He taught time being, which time itself is being, and all beings are time. He was very critical of the Zen-The school for their formulaic and intellectual koan practice. And he wrote the Shobo Jinzo, the Sinjai Shoben Jinzo, and several other important Buddhist books.
You understand what he say about what's that? Times is what you mentioned?
No, I didn't. I have an idea.
What, you understand that quote?
The time quote or the quote that I read?
The time that you just read.
No.
Can you read again?
Time itself is a being, and all beings is time.
What's mean? You know what's the idea? Time is a spin, right? Obvious is time.
Is
What's
it talking about impermanence?
Not really.
Eternity.
Huh?
Eternity.
Time is being. All beings is time. Let me put this way. If you study Taoism, who studies Taoism? Vicky, who studies Taoism? Taoism.
Oh, Taoism.
Taoism. Remember, one is all. All is one. Remember? What means that one is all? Actually, this one here. One from number one. From this one, this you can start from one and go to the cycle. One is all. All is one. Time is beings. All beings is time. Let me put it this way. We discriminate to, okay? We have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, so forth, right? Now, if you really focus on your task, if you really focus on your piano, when you play piano, if you really focus on your drawing, you notice times.
Hours can go past.
Yeah. You understand now? Time is beings. If you are in tune with your object, especially in drawing, right? You don't pay attention about times. And when taking the exam, right? Sometimes probably we walk into the room and probably that test may last for a couple hours, right? But when you really focus, 2 hours pass quickly. Is that right? That means time is being. Beings is all beings is time. That's meaning. Make sense? How about other things?
The other quote
Other quote.
was to practice the way single-heartedly is in itself enlightenment. There is no gap between practice and enlightenment, or zazen and daily life.
You understand that?
Yeah, I think
What's
so.
mean?
I think it means to sit there and practice, or to sit there and do zazen is also the same thing like when you just go out into the real world.
Yeah. You're not two person.
Yeah.
You don't have double life.
Yeah.
Right? You have in tune with whatever you do. Okay, so they make documentaries or movies about him. It's really interesting how he his childhood, adult life, or monkhood life, and how it established a temple and so forth. It's been interesting movie if you want. Yeah.
You say that statement again, you say, time is a
Beings.
being,
All beings is time. Is that right?
all
Yeah.
beings is time.
You understand the concept now?
And what was the other one? You said time is a being?
Time itself is a being, and
Okay.
all beings are time.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. You understand that concept, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let's move on there. Okay, so the next one, Zen teaching and narrative.
Yes.
What do you have there?
I couldn't print mine out, but